Hi guys, my name is Anya Chrisanthon and I'm the host of the New Construction Marketing Podcast. Recently, I posted a video of why you should use Pinterest for your marketing strategy to help you sell more homes. And I've got such an overwhelming response of people asking questions of how to actually do it that I decided to put together this training on how to use Pinterest. Welcome to Pinterest training for new home sales with Anya Chrisanthon. So here's what you're going to learn today. First things first is we're going to talk about what Pinterest is and what Pinterest is not, so you know exactly how to utilize it. We will also talk about who is using Pinterest so you can figure out if your ideal customer is currently on Pinterest. And if so, you may want to consider that as part of your marketing strategy. We'll talk about how to set up and optimize your profile to make sure you're getting the best results from using Pinterest so that your searches are coming up at the top. I'll also give you 10 Pinterest board ideas that you can implement today to get started right away. And of course, we're going to talk about how to create pins that grab people's attention and therefore give you the best conversion results. We will lastly get into Pinterest ads, and if you want to take it to the next level, we'll talk about sponsored pins, best practices. All right, so first things first, how Pinterest works. If you're going to take away anything at all from this training, I want you to remember that Pinterest is a search engine. It's very, very important to keep in mind. And this is what I want you to picture the whole time you're doing anything on Pinterest, is that you want to remember that it is a search engine. So you're going to use it as a search engine, and you're going to create pins that will be found because it's a search engine. Most people go on Pinterest when they're looking for ideas. So for example, it could be ideas for fall outfits, it could be ideas for gardening tips, or you may be in the market for a new home and you want to get an idea for what you want your home to look like. And so you're going to be searching for exterior ideas for the facade, maybe how you want to set up your great room, fireplace ideas, etc. So there's a lot of different ways that people use Pinterest, but it's really to discover what they like. Now, the best thing about Pinterest is that people will use keywords to search for certain terms. For example, if you're looking for fall outfit ideas and you go to Google or any other search engine, you're going to put that in and hit enter. And what you're going to notice is that some of the top results that will come up for you are going to be Pinterest boards. So even if you're not in Pinterest, the results will come up from Pinterest. And that's what's so great about Pinterest, is that Pinterest will rank your website or your boards inside Pinterest much faster than Google will rank your own website. And that's because you have the authority of Pinterest as a granddaddy, and then your Pinterest boards inside Pinterest are catching that oomph, so to speak, from the authority of the big Pinterest, and they're giving you that rocket fuel to really skyrocket your results, and it allows you to be found on Pinterest by many more people than those same people would be able to find you on your own website. So that is huge. Now that we know that people use Pinterest to find ideas and that Pinterest is a giant search engine that will help you to be found by your customers, let's talk about how this whole thing works. So the ideas that people are searching for are going to be represented on Pinterest by what's called pins. So the pins are simply images, or you can even use video, and you're going to describe what that image is. So for example, if you're pinning an exterior of an old Victorian, you're going to say, okay, this is a classic facade of a Victorian style home. So when people are searching for that term, that image is going to come up, and that image is going to be linked to your website. So when people find that image and they want to find out more, they will simply click on the URL link to that image, which will take them to your website. And that's how people will find you, through Pinterest. So this is very, very powerful because it's going to drive a ton more traffic to your website versus you not using Pinterest. Now, the best part about this is that not only businesses can create those pins, but anyone, your customers, anybody can pin content. Anybody can pin pictures from your website to Pinterest, which is huge because that becomes discoverable by many more people. Because say if I have a customer who pinned images from my website and they added them to their board, now that's going to be fed to other people. As more and more people share that, they're going to pin it to their own boards, etc., etc., etc. So it's going to spread like wildfire. So that is huge because it's not just you adding those pins, making your website discoverable, but everyone else who's pinning is going to be essentially helping your cause. So the more pins you get, the more opportunities you have to be discovered on Pinterest and on any search engine. So it's like a wheel that's going to keep going faster and faster and faster. The more pins you have, the more you're going to be discovered, etc., etc. So we talked about people adding pins, and once that pin is added to their board, other people in their feed will be able to discover that. So that's the social aspect of Pinterest. You know, when you go to Pinterest, you'll see that a bunch of images are going to be shown to you based on your interest. Same thing, if somebody else pinned some of the content from your website, you will see that they will be able to see those images from your website. So again, every single pin or image lives on its own board, which is organized by similar ideas. So for example, you could have a whole section about exterior facades, and you're going to pin a bunch of pictures of exteriors of the different models that you have available. Or, think about bedroom decor ideas, and you could showcase owner's bedroom from the various models that you have, laundry rooms, etc. There's really no limit to this, and you can be as creative as you want to be. The key is to remember that you want it to be what your customers are searching for, so that's something you'd always want to keep in mind. Most businesses will create these boards with pins to really spread brand awareness for their products and to increase sales, because again, when people discover your pictures or your videos and they like what they see, they have an opportunity to come back to your website, the source of the original picture. And of course, the more people you bring to your website, the more opportunities you have to sell them your product. All right, so I hope you guys understand how important Pinterest is in spreading awareness about your brand, about your builder, about your community. This is like a magic juice that's going to skyrocket your visibility on the web. And, no amount of SEO is going to beat the amount of visibility that Pinterest is going to provide for you. So I would recommend that every single one of you use Pinterest for your community to increase awareness and to drive traffic to your website, because you're going to be amazed at how much more traffic is going to be coming to your website when you start to use Pinterest. So who is on Pinterest? You want to know if your customers are hanging out on Pinterest. Well, here are some stats for you. So currently Pinterest has over 200 million monthly users, and it's growing every single day. And that's a 40% increase over last year. So you can see that it's growing exponentially. So it's going to increase and increase and increase. What's important to keep in mind is that most Pinterest users are using the app on their mobile phone. So when you're creating pins, you want to be cognizant of that fact, and you really want to tailor your pins to mobile users, not the desktop, because desktop is only 20% of the users. Not surprisingly, most of the pinners are women, which is great because most decision makers in the home buying process are women. In fact, women are responsible for 90% decisions when it comes to home purchase. So this is great news for us. But as far as men go, we are seeing that they are starting to adopt Pinterest more and more. Pinterest reports that they're seeing exponential increase in men signing up for Pinterest accounts as well. 60% of Pinterest households have children under the age of 5. So it gives you some idea of who is on Pinterest. And great news is that 40% of Pinterest users have income of over $100,000 per year, which is much higher than national average. 1 out of 2 millennials use Pinterest every single month. And we know that there's a huge emphasis on marketing to millennials right now. A lot of builders are concentrating on marketing to millennials, not surprisingly, because millennials are about a third of US population, and they are outgrowing baby boomers. So they're going to be the biggest population very soon. 50% of all home buyers in 2017 were under the age of 36. So there you go, you're millennials once again. So a lot of builders are looking for ways to appeal to those millennial buyers, and Pinterest is obviously a great way to raise awareness about your brand, because 1 out of 2 millennials are on Pinterest. Now, let's not forget about Gen Xers. Gen Xers are people who are aged 45 to 54 currently, and 1 in 2 people in that group are also on Pinterest. Now, great news about Gen Xers is that they have cash to spend. They have 75% more spending power than millennials do. Their average income is $130,000 plus annually. They definitely are wealthier. The great news about Gen Xers who are pinners, and this is a study that was done by Pinterest, they report that 63% of pinners in Gen X are more likely to report saving for retirement versus non-pinners. So people who are using Pinterest tend to have a little bit higher incomes versus non-pinners. Another interesting statistic about Gen Xers is that 80% of them say that their home reflects who they are. I guess that's not surprising because as they're starting to become empty nesters, they may be entertaining a lot more in their homes, dinner parties and things like that. So home is very important for them. And 2 in 3 older Gen Xers search for home-related purchases, which is great news for us. Of course, Gen Xers are planning for the next stage in their lives, and that could be downsizing, right? So if you have those downsizing communities that you're trying to appeal to, the older Gen Xers, bingo, you have audience built in right here on Pinterest. And again, 1 in 2 Gen Xers report using Pinterest. Here's some interesting statistic about Pinterest users. The slide comes directly from Pinterest, so I thought it would be interesting to share whoever is on Pinterest versus just the general population. You'll see that they're 39% more likely to be active retail shoppers. They spend more on retail than people who don't use Pinterest. For home, there are 40% of people who bought home decor in the last 6 months. And they report spending higher amounts spent on home decor than people who are not on Pinterest. So sounds like a bunch of shopaholics are on Pinterest, which again is a great news for us because if they tend to spend more money, new construction homes certainly could be something that appeals to them, and the higher their budget, the better for us. So, is your ideal customer on Pinterest? The clearer you have an idea for your ideal customer, the better your messaging is going to be, which means you're going to be able to identify the keywords that your ideal customer is searching for on Pinterest. And again, it's going to help you increase traffic to your website. And that's the whole point. To help you with that, I've created a quick exercise that you can go through to define your ideal customer. Head on over to anyachrisanthon.com/customer to take a quick assessment. And when you open it up, you're going to be able to answer a series of 20 questions that will help you define your ideal customer. You may have more than one ideal customer profile based on your community. So for example, if you're selling in a community that has great school district and maybe it's a townhome community that appeals to a lot of young families, but also downsizers, you may want to go through this exercise twice, keeping in mind that particular buyer profile as you're answering questions for them, because you will have 2 distinct different customer avatars. Customer avatar simply means representation of your ideal customer. Once you go through this exercise, you're going to have a very clear idea for who that person is. So what I like to do is I like to tape that to your computer so that every time you're doing any kind of a marketing, you have a clear image of who this person is. So when you talk to them, whether it's crafting email messages or updating your website, you talk their language, you speak their language, you appeal to what they're looking for. All right, so next we're going to talk about setting up your actual Pinterest account. I'm going to take you through step-by-step process so you know how to set it up so that your account and your pin boards come up at the top of the results. So what you're going to do is you're going to head on over to business.pinterest.com to join business account, which is free. Now, you may be asking, do I need a business account? I already have an account of my own that I use. Well, I will tell you what, business account is a must-have because is going to give you some information that is not going to be available to you if you just have a personal account. Now, if you already have a personal account, you can open a separate business account. In fact, you can have as many accounts as you want on Pinterest. You just need to have a separate email account for each one of these accounts. So when you're opening business account, you want to think about the account that you're opening. Do you want to open it under the umbrella of the builder? And then you can have a different boards dedicated to particular communities that you may have? Or do you want to open that business account directly under your community, and then the different boards in your account are going to be dedicated to just different types of topics for your community? So there's a couple of different ways to do it, and you can always play around with it, and you can have as many different accounts as you want to. It's just obviously, how many accounts you want to keep track of. So probably start with one, see how it goes. You can always make changes to it if necessary. But business account is a must, and here is why. Business account is going to give you analytics. This is very important because obviously you don't want to be just doing something and not know if you're getting any results from it. So with the analytics tab in business account, you're going to be able to see information like number of views for each of your pins and which pins and boards are performing the best over time. So you'll know exactly what type of content your ideal customer is searching for, and so you can provide more of that same content. You can track clicks, which is awesome because obviously, again, you don't want to be spending lots of time on something that is not providing you with the results. When you sign up for a business account on Pinterest, you'll be able to see exactly how many clicks are coming to your website from Pinterest. This is huge because, again, you'll know what's working, what's not working, if you need to switch up your strategy on Pinterest. But this is great because obviously this is going to give you justification of, hey, yes, we should continue to use this. This is a great tool and it's obviously driving a lot of traffic to us. Or, you know what, maybe not. My ideal customer is really not hanging out on Pinterest at this time. You're also going to get an audience insights. So this is where you'll be able to see your customers broken up by age, gender, their location, what types of devices they're on. So they're using iPhone, or are they on Android? Are they on a desktop, etc.? And also what types of interests does this audience have? Because when you first set up your account, whether business or personal, it's going to ask you to select some of the interests you may have. So again, it's going to give you a lot of information about people who are pinning your content, people who are interested in your content, so you get to know them better. And the better you know them, the better marketer you're going to become. And of course, we're going to get into Pinterest ads. So if you're ready to take your game to a new level and experiment with sponsored pins, we're going to talk about Pinterest ads separately as part of this training. So what you're going to do when you go to business.pinterest.com is you're going to go ahead and go through all the prompts to get started. You're going to enter your email address. Remember, email address is going to be associated with that particular account. Business name, this is going to be the name of whatever you're trying to promote. So is it going to be the builder or is it going to be the community? This is where you're going to want to make that decision. And what type of a business? Don't worry about that one too much. It doesn't really make that much difference. Just pick one, whatever you think best describes your business, and go ahead and create an account. Once you go through the steps of creating an account, what you're going to do is you're going to confirm your website. This is very, very important because it's going to give you a couple of things. So when it comes to confirming your website, you may need to get your web guy or girl involved in this process because it requires a little bit of knowledge of how to set it up. There's detailed instructions on how to do it. So it's not too complicated, but again, depending on your level of knowledge with this, you may need some additional help from somebody who is techie and is familiar with it. So why should you set up your website? Why should you verify your website? Is that very importantly, your profile picture will show up on every single pin that will come from your website. So any picture coming from your website, people will be able to identify directly with your builder or with your community. So topics, it's going to next ask you to select different types of topics that you're interested in. Now, this is very important. Make sure that when you're selecting these topics, and this is what it's going to look like, choose topics that would describe your business. Remember that these are not the topics that necessarily describe your business, but these are going to be the topics that describe what your ideal customer is interested in. So you want to think about, what is it that my ideal customer is searching for? So maybe home decor is going to be applicable. You're going to go through this and you're going to see there's lots and lots of different choices, but don't think about it as your own interests. You want to think about it as interests of your ideal customer, because the whole point is that you're going to be seeing content that your ideal customer is going to be interested in, so that, again, you can pin that particular content, repin it, and really live through the eyes of your ideal customer here. Lastly, very important, is we're going to go ahead and add Pinterest save and follow buttons. So again, if you follow the directions on how to do it, it may require a little bit of help from your tech department on how to install that. But once again, it's not too difficult. You can choose different types of a save button that will blend in with your website and your overall aesthetic, so it matches your brand. And the same thing with the follow button. There's information on how to install follow button. Again, it's pretty easy, but you may need to get help of your tech department involved in that. Why do you want to install save and follow button? Save button is crucial because it's going to allow anyone save content from your website directly to Pinterest. And remember, you want that because the more people save content from your website to Pinterest, the more is going to be shared on Pinterest, which means it's shared on all search engines. And the more people are going to discover your pictures, meaning they're going to be able to link back to your website. So the more people save stuff from your website, the more your website is going to be discovered, the more traffic you're going to get. The higher the traffic on your website, the more sales you're going to be making. That's the whole idea of Pinterest. So save button is a must. If you do anything and you take away anything from this portion of the training, is I want you to go ahead and install that save button right now. Another great thing about save button is that not only it's going to help you spread the word about your brand and drive traffic to your website, but it's also going to give you some analytics. So you're going to be able to see which images are being pinned most from your website, which are the most popular. So again, it's going to dictate the type of a content you're going to put out both on Pinterest and on your website. Give people what they want. Give people what they're already searching for. And follow button on your website, you're just going to invite people to follow you on Pinterest. Again, because the more they follow you on Pinterest, they can repin your content directly from Pinterest. And that's going to show in other people's feeds. And the more people discover you, the higher the website traffic once again. So again, it's working for you over and over and over again. Again, if anything you're going to take away from this training today is that Pinterest is a search engine, so use it as such. All right, so coming up next, we're going to talk about how to optimize your profile when you're setting it up. So this is what's going to allow you to rank at the very top of a search engine. So when somebody's searching for a particular keyword, we're going to set up your profile accordingly so that you come up as one of the first results. I'm going to give you 10 board ideas that you can implement right now. And of course, I'm going to share some secrets with you on how to create high converting pins that will grab people's attention and people would want to click to your website from that particular pin. And lastly, we're going to talk about Pinterest ads, best practices. So if you guys have enjoyed this training so far and you'd like to learn more, head on over to anyachrisanthon.com/enroll to sign up for the rest of this training. Normally, this training is priced at $129, and today you're offered a reduced price of just $79 to get all this information. If you like the step-by-step instruction that I've provided so far, you're going to expect the same thing for the rest of the topics that we have outlined above. So again, we're going to talk about how to optimize your profile to help you rank highest on Pinterest and search engines, 10 board ideas to implement today, secret to high converting pins, and Pinterest ads. So again, it's only $79. And to get started, head on over to anyachrisanthon.com/enroll. Of course, if you're not 100% satisfied with this training, I will give you your money back. No questions asked. You'll have 30 days to get your money back if you're unhappy for some reason. FAQs. So is this for new construction only, or will this training apply to resale market? So I designed this training specifically for new construction sales because that's my jam. That's what I do. This is what I'm passionate about. But with that being said, the same technique can apply to resale market as well as selling apples. It really can apply to anything that you're trying to sell. So, but yes, it will be specifically targeted for new home sales. And how is this training going to be delivered? It's going to be delivered in a similar format that you've seen so far. You're going to receive username and password, and it's going to be in a protected members area where you can log in anytime you want to go through the training. You can go at your own pace, come back to it as many times as necessary. So it will always be available to you, and you can take as long or as little time as necessary to go through it. And again, if you enjoy the step-by-step process, the rest of it is going to be delivered in a similar format. If you're ready to take action, head on over to anyachrisanthon.com/enroll to get started today. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Remember to like and please subscribe if you'd like to receive similar content to help you market new construction homes. If you think that your entire group could benefit from this Pinterest training, you can send inquiry to anya.chrisanthon@gmail.com. And this Pinterest training can be delivered in person for a live audience. I'll be more than happy to come out and present this for you in person.